sketchy investing my husband is insisting on. My dad died and I am set to inherit around $100,000. I am a stay-at-home mom and my youngest is starting kindergarten this year. My husband has these two friends who invest by giving their money to builders. The story is, the builders just need the money to show the bank they have it. My husband's friends get $400 a month for a year, and then their money says it is no risk because the contract states if the money isn't returned, they get the house that was built. Nothing about this sounds legit. I am sort of thinking of new career training through a local college, maybe EKI or something, but he is getting pretty heated. He says I can do what I want with it, but it's pretty clear if I don't invest he is going to think I am stupid and become resentful towards me. He is always talking about investing and dividends, but I don't think he understands what that means. Truthfully, I don't either, but everything I have read suggests I would need to invest a substantial amount to get any kind of return that he talking about. He wants something that pays monthly and pays fairly well. The story is, the builders just need the money to show the bank they have it. The further story is that the reason that builder needs to show this to the bank because that's their equity position needed for construction. This is a shell game, it works until it doesn't, because the developer is stretched to the max and it will be a deck of cards that come crashing down. You don't want to be the one that it comes crashing down on. So, this is a terrible idea. The returns aren't even that good, and there is a risk you could lose it all. $400 month on $100,000 is less than 5 return per year. Long term you would get more by investing in some simple index funds. If you both don't know much about this stuff you should talk to a financial planner. Don't. My friend did this and lost it all. He was out $125K. He wants something that pays monthly and pays fairly well. Tell him to get a second job. $100,000 invested for a $400 a month return is $4,800 in a year, or an annual return of 4.8. You can get better than that with a JIC which actually hasn't any risk. If you live in on, know that this isn't automatically his money also. You can shield any inheritances from the marriage by simply depositing the money in an account that is in your name only. Don't use any of the funds to pay any marital asset. It then will remain your money and yours to decide what to do with. Beside the fact that is a scam, but 400 CAD a month on 100K is less than a normal JIC that you can buy in any bank. So why risking? I don't make any sense. If you can't convince him it's a scam, tell him this money is special to you and you want it in a JIC, or at least you want to maintain control of it. It is a scam BTW, it's obvious because of. The contract states if the money isn't returned, they get the house that was built. Your husband insisting anything with an inheritance that isn't his really sets me off. $400 a month on $100,000 isn't even a nice return, that's 4.8. This is legit a worse return than just putting that $100,000 into the cash to ETF, which is yielding over 5 and will give you more per month. X200B. Do not do this. That's a scam 100. My friend lost $100,000 as part of a friend group who lost $400,000 total. There was one friend who had a contact that has an in with McDonald's. All they had to do was show they had enough money to build one restaurant and they would all get some amazing dividend. In the end the friend who had the in walked away with the money. When they confronted him it came to veiled threats of violence and they all walked away rather than risk their family's health and safety. It's most likely an organized crime thing. This sounds very sketch and I wouldn't do this. That being said, your husband that would hold a grudge on your money is weird too. Surprised he wouldn't support you to pursue further education. Anyways, if you had to do this, how much do you invest to get the $400 a month? 10,000? 100,000? You know, if it's the latter, that's 4.8 lol, which is worse than a risk-free JIC. I have been in the investment business for 40 years, and if you don't have a mortgage directly on the property, you are entitled to nothing. You are lending the funds directly to the builder, and if the builder becomes insolvent, you are a creditor to the builder that has nothing to pay you back. Don't get sucked in. Invest in a high-rate savings account at 5.34 daily interest and daily liquidity without risk. Once you decide on your future path, then you can talk to an investment advisor and get advice. Tell your husband to keep his nose out of your money. They get the house that was built. And if these guys disappear, then no money and no house. Sketchy it is, as described. But there might be more to it that is making it legit. Do not commingle this money with your marital money. Keep it totally separate. It's your money. If he thinks this is a good idea, he'll lose it all for you. Invest it in a boring but safe check. It'll be there for your retirement or a nice safety net if when you split. Have you considered divorce? I think that you already know the answer to your question. Can I throw in my 2 cents as someone in education? If you've got this money to retrain, pick something other than Iki. Wages are not great and behaviors are off the charts. $400 month on $100,000 is less than 5 return per year. Wealth Simple Cash returns 4.5. He says it is no risk because the contract states if the money isn't returned, they get the house that was built. Unless the builder skips town and builds nothing. Also, who the heck knows how real or enforceable this contract is? This is a terrible idea and your husband is total idiot. I cannot stress this enough, but make sure that inheritance money goes into an account only you have access to. People who fall for these kinds of investment scams can also be the kind of people to borrow money without asking. It's your money. Don't do something you aren't comfortable with. Talk to a financial planner, even throw it into a jig for the short-term rates are back to being reasonably good. If you hear of an investment that tells you there's zero risk, run. Watch American Greed documentaries about scams and false investment schemes. A lot of them bought into that statement. Now they're back to work instead of being in the beach enjoying retirement. That's scary. Your husband is making plans out of an investment you're about to inherit. Don't even discuss this. One of the worst ideas I have ever heard. So the bank does not think to give them money, but you should. Stay away from husband's ideas and get educated. Go to a financial advisor of your choice. Without your husband or his input. Yes, you need substantial amounts, but looking ahead 30 years, you would with this and regular contributions and sane and conservative investing and compounding interests have a nice nest egg for retirement. You're a stay-at-home mother and your husband doesn't sound too bright or even considerate and respectful of you. Put the money in a new account at a separate banking institution. Do not use it for joint marital expenses at all. Tell him you're not going to hasty or do anything with it for 6 months. If he can't accept that, reconsider the relationship. My ex unfortunately sounds similar to you, hubby. What's his is his and what's mine was also his. Keep it in your name only and invest how you want to. He seems to do risky things, so best to keep it out of hands. If you really end up doing his recommendation, have a lawyer you know look over the contract and see if the house or land title has you listed on it for when things don't work out. Guarantee the contract is worth no more than the paper it's printed on and you would lose it all. You can get one YGX at 5.45 today. $100,000 at that rate would get you $5,450 at the end of the term, equivalent to $454 per month with zero risk. This idea sounds so dumb that I'd also wonder if it's a cover story for something more sinister, gambling or other debt. I'd make sure you have a clear and transparent picture of your family's finances if you don't already before making any decisions with this money. This is a terrible idea. Don't give a penny to them. If that bothers your husband that much, tell him he needs to find a new wife.